Right, welcome back. We're looking at this week. I'm going to be going carp fishing in about 4 days' time. It's the start of September. We're just still in the corona phase of the world. Every fishery across the country has been ram-packed full, and it just hasn't been easy anywhere. We were going to take our chances. There's like 4 of us going fishing. We were going to take our chances and go like one of the known day ticket waters, say Bluebell or Linear. But then it's a risk. Are we going to get on the water? Are we going to get a peg? So we tried a few different places, see if we can get on one of these lakes where you can book in advance or book a peg. Not ideal because you don't know where the fish are, what they're doing, but at least we know we're going to be on a water. So we've booked onto Emmotland Ponds. We're on Pond 2, which I've fished quite a few times now. Some deal of success on there, but still got a lot to learn, I think, with that water. So, but I thought, do a quick video while I'm sat here at home. It's easy to go through my terminal tackle, bits and pieces. Then when we're on the bank, I'll show you my setup. I'm going under the brolly this time. I've got a brolly, a GRC dome, and I've got a few bivvies anyway, but because the swim I'm going into, peg 3A, is only small. Not a great deal of room. There's only me trying to travel light because it's the only swim you really can't get your car behind to unload, so I'll probably borrow my stuff round. So we'll have a quick look through my stuff. I'm pretty much an old school carper. I don't follow trends. I don't follow fashions and things like that really. If I see something I think, oh, you know, it looks good and it's going to work, then I'll give it a go. But not one for following the latest fashion and things like that, as you can probably tell from me. So we'll have a look at a few bits and pieces. A couple of little bits I use on my kayaking as well, or my predator fishing. So you might see a few things. If you watched any of my other videos, you might see these and think, oh yeah, I've seen this already. But just in case we've just got a couple of carp lads that aren't interested in the pike videos or kayaking, we'll go through them again. Right, so yeah, we were saying I bought this a while ago for the kayak. It's called the Fish Eye. So I wanted something on the kayak where I could just, you know, have it attached to put my phone in dead easy, things like that. So I picked this up off, they're on eBay and as well as Facebook. They've got their own Facebook page. No association with them, but it's a nifty little device. So this is screwed onto a storm pole. So I'll be using this with conjunction with my Deeper Pro and my Fish Spy. So nice long bank stake, 6, you know, storm poles, and it can extend out to a nice long length to get that signal. So I'll be using the Fish Eye, which is the camera holder, in conjunction with my camera phone. So it holds your mobile phone, as you can see, nice and sturdy. With it you get a nifty little remote so you can hit your self-take buttons. Just works off Bluetooth, dead easy to set up. Just a power button on and click the button as you want it. So I'm going to be using that. Like I say, you can have your phone on your angle, so I can have my phone upright while I'm using my Deeper Pro, checking out the swim. I've never done a great deal of mapping on Emmotland, so it'll be good to see. So that's the first little bit of kit, gadgetry sort of stuff I'm using. So I'm there for 5 days, we're on the bank for, so can't live without our phones these days, so I'll be talking to my mates who are also fishing there, keeping in touch with them. Keeping in touch with home with the wife and kids, obviously, just in case there's anything going wrong. So we need power on the bank, so keep my phone alive. I've got a couple of items here from Power Traveller. I think I'll check before I say this, make a fool out myself. Yeah. So from Power Traveller, I've got where are we? We've got the 2 power banks. So the Gorilla, that can that's Gorilla Mini, it's called, from Power Traveller. These can charge your phone quite a few times, tablets, laptops, cameras, things like that. So that's a nifty bit of kit to have. This one will give you probably 2 charges on the iPhone, tablet maybe once, things like that. But again, cameras a good bit. And then probably won't, British weather, but we've got a little solar charger. And usually even in this sort of light, it's not today, but doesn't take much light, and that really does give your phone a good zap. So again, Power Travel Extreme Solar. So right, I've opened that up and zip it back up so I can show you. So this is my tackle bag I'll be taking. Again, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll notice I use this bag quite a bit. It's a Flambeur designed for lures. You get this bag, you've got a number of lure boxes in there. Brilliant bit of kit. You get another bag that fastens onto the outside, which usually carry sandwiches and drinks. But there's just the compartments in it, how it's set up. It's perfect for me carp fishing as well. So I use it on the rivers, hiking, barbel, chubbing, anything like that. As you can see, I've got all my carp gear in here. So we'll move the bag off to the side. We'll just go through bits and pieces, just a quick review of what I've got, why I've got it, things like that. So first bit of kit, the Fox box. I have used these for years. Kind of need a new one again because I've snapped the corner, my own fault. So brilliant bit of kit. I do like the look of the new Corda ones. They seem to be holding the same amount of stuff. Could be wrong, but they seem a little bit more compact. So the smaller you can get stuff, the better. But in here, nothing untoward. Nice and messy like everything else of mine. I've got a couple of boxes with like your lead clips, tubing, things like that. A box with hooks in. Move these bits out of the way so we don't lose them. Obviously my bag's been upside down, so there's bits everywhere. Box of swivels, so I've got different ones like for your spinner rigs, things like that. The swivels with the big eyes on. Pretty much every eventuality is in that box. And then the other box, I've got rig foam. Big fan of using the rig foam, tipping off or zigs or anything like that. And then I've also got flying back leads, so they're hidden in there as well. Places like Linear, big open waters, can't say Linear, but some of the waters down there, I wouldn't use them on Hardwick. Like any Brazenoses, things like that, I'd use the flying back lead every time just to pin that last section of the line down the first, like say 12 foot, maybe a bit more. But yeah, going upland, it's going to be weedy fishing. You're going to be fishing in like pads, weed, things like that. So nothing like that, just very simple rigs. Got a good selection of different lines. So this is for your tying of your rigs. Still got quite a bit in there of the old school stuff like your snake skin. So I love that stuff. So I've got that in green and gold, and then a selection of other stuff. Floss, timing baits on and things like that. IQ, love the stuff. I don't know if you can see it there, but I've just got it. Just started playing with crimps, always tied knots, but I do like crimps. They give you really nice, neat presentations. So got a couple of boxes of them. Everyone seems to have gone wild for them through lockdown and what have you, and you can't get hold of the Corda crimp for love nor money. I think you have to sell your house if you want one. But yeah, got a stripper. I always tell the wife I take that with me, but just for stripping the coating off your rigs. I don't think it matters. I've got a Tasker, yeah. So strips it off, you've got a little line cutter on the front. Use that end for pulling hooks down and things like that. So they all do the same. Bit of marker elastic, a couple more spools of stuff, armour link and hybrid stiff. So I've got plenty of different Hooklink materials so I can cover all bases of like what you're going to see on the bottom. What else we got? We've got our hook files from Jag. Those made a big difference because the amount of times you pulled, you'd have a fish on, unhook it, hook point's not quite what it was, so you have to start again, rig's gone. So yeah, sharpening the hooks, brilliant thing. I always carry a lighter. Now, everyone, I think quite a few people do use lighters and that with your carp fishing, burning your tag ends and things like that. But I found these ones really good because you get like a really good flame on it and the wind doesn't affect them, so it's not worse when you're huddled up when you're bivvy and trying to get them going, but brilliant bit of kit. Pair of scissors in here. I have another pair in my bait bucket, so I always carry two. I always lose everything, so thankfully they started making all your carp fishing stuff bright now, so you can't lose it. I have a good number of baiting hooks, baiting needles, so that one's like the latch type. I do prefer them over any others. String of needles, another file. Loads and loads of spare baiting needles because I either snap them or do something I shouldn't with them. That's pretty much a quick rundown of the tackle box. I've got the dark matter in there, your tungsten putty. People always see these in me inside my tackle box and that's why I've got boilies in here. So if I'm tying rigs, I've got everything I need, like your different sizes. So if you're setting your hairs up, I don't have to think, ooh, you know, you're not guesstimating or trying to measure on your box. I can stick a boilie on, so I've got holes through them, so I can just bang them straight on, and then I've got the right distance on the hairs. Little tackle boxes in this corner, pretty much all labelled up. So I've got all my hair stops in there, just broke off, ready straight on. Small rig rings, micro beads, and smaller beads for like your chod rigs and things like that. Large beads, again, for whatever you need them for. That's the heli-safe stuff in there. And zigger liners, brilliant bits of kit again. For if you're fishing your zigs, you can just clip those on. And then I've got the tool there to thread the foam on as well. So there's other little bits and pieces in there I've got dumped in there, but they're more in the other bits and kits, so I'll show you them now. Yeah, like I say, I've used the Fox box for, scared to think, over 20 years. This is my second one because, like I say, I broke the first one. I actually won this one at the Fox show. Yeah, the first show they did on Horseshoe, I went there with my mate, and they had the card game, higher, lower, get your way through. First line, you want to spool the line, got through that, then got to the very end and got myself a new tackle box, which thankfully I needed. So we'll just shift that out of our way there for now. So 2 rig boards. So again, these with my 2 boards, I've got literally everything covered. So it's a bit of a mess because I've got the rig ready that I'm going to be using when I get there. I'll look at that in a second. We're everything from short rigs, long rigs, fluoro, combis, snakebite, everything amongst these 2 boxes. So yeah, this is the rig I'll be using. So I've got the Corda Safe Zone leader in the brown silt, I believe they call it. Just the normal sort of lead clip arrangement. That will be, just lick it, and I'll just to say be pushing that on. Because like I say, we're fishing in quite a weedy area. I've got IQ with a small piece of putty on. Just helps when it sinks down. It just kicks that away. And then we've got a combi rig kind of thing going on. Now, bait-wise, I use Baitworks. Big fan of Baitworks. And this is one that Mark pushes quite a bit, his rig, and it's fantastic. So you're using the Albright knot to attach. It's like doubled over here. Your soft, like your braid, is doubled over. Albright knot onto your fluoro. Really neat knot. Bit of putty on there if you're fishing a wafter, pop up or anything. And like Mark explains, does it a hell of a lot better than me. If you have a look on their YouTube page, he explains it. So it's D-rig set up. But like I say, it's grabs all every time. Bit of shrink tubing on the end just to line things up. So that'll be going out. I'll probably be fishing that with a bottom bait cut in half, fishing back to back. I'll be fishing chops and things like that, but we'll cover that when we're on the bank. We've just got this in here, keeping the hook safe in the folds of that. So yeah, 2 rig boards, every eventuality is in there. Brownie rigs, the lot, you name it. I think I've pretty much got it covered. Choddies, the lot. So I always carry 2, so I've got plenty in there. Usually I'll turn up and think, oh, I don't want to fish any of them, and I'll tie a new one up anyway, but it's all part of the fun. Lead bag. Again, years old this thing. Fox again. I was always a big fan of the Fox gear. So inside here, I've just, where was it? Tailor-made leads, I believe it's called. So just the coated leads I've got from them, a few different types. Nearly always fish like your pairs, very rarely fish inlines, flat pairs, things like that. Typically I pull that out. Got a couple of back leads from them as well, but like I say, I won't be using that sort of thing on Emmotland. Square pair again. So there's a good selection there. Be fishing quite probably something like that. Your flat pairs, good weight, good hook holds when you get them. The other thing I did get when I ordered is I ordered just the plain, like smooth textured leads. Now when you get these, I always find that they're quite shiny. they're all dulling down quite nicely now. What I do with these leads is when they're quite shiny when you get them is I'll always put them into the lead bag with like your textured leads, so when they're rubbing and they're in the bag it takes that shine off them, so they're quite a dull matte colour when you come to use them. I think if that's laid on the bottom and you're only fishing in a couple of feet of water, sunlight on it, you get a bit of a shine off it. I don't think it's going to be good for the carp fishing, but might be my own paranoia, but it's just something I do. So they're going there, all mixed together. Dead easy to find out when you want the one you want, but just when they're in there and the movement of you moving about with the bags around the house, to and from the swim, things like that, it's just taking that shine off them leads. Right, what else we got here? We've got our crusher. Don't think they need any introduction. I always like to blitz my boilies down, things like that. I've got the chopper tool in there as well, boilie bag. So just my air drying sack. So I'll have, well, I've got 3 or 4 of them. Again, we'll cover bait on the bank. I'm going all in with Baitworks. I was going to take sticky manila, but I want to fish a big bed of the Royal Marine with the pellets. Going to get them out of the freezer a couple of days before, dry them out a bit, chop a load up and put a lot of liquids on it, so your oils and things like that. So we'll have a look at that at another time. The wife will kill me if I get that stuff out again because it doesn't smell too good. Right, it's a PVA pouch, this one. Apparently pouch, but it's a great big thing. But I've got all sorts sat in here. So I've got spawn floats. If you've been carp fishing years, you know the progression as you've gone onto the spods. Brilliant bit of kit when they first got released, making all fairy liquid bottles and things like that. But over the years, they just got better and better and better. And then out came the spawn, and just you don't lose any bait out of it. Brilliant bit of kit. Downside is it doesn't float, so a lot of fisheries are now saying that you must use your floats with it. So I'm glad I do, because the amount of times you see them floating about, or you bring your rod in and you'll have one on the end. So not great. Well, look, so yeah, in here I've just got a massive mix of other bits and pieces. So it's supposed to be PVA pouch, so I do have a lot of PVA in here. In the bottom I've got an eel rig. Do enjoy my eel fishing, so I know. But yeah, I've got like different size PVA bags, everything from large, small, quick melt, slow melting. I've got the PVA tape in there, but quite often what I do is when you're making your bags up, you're chopping the top off anyway, so I'll chop that in half again, and then you've got your PVA tape, so there's no point wasting it, may as well use it. So we've got them in there. Like I say, I've got other bits and pieces, so heli safes. I haven't used them yet. I'm a bit dubious about using them, because it's always been a case of if you're fishing a heli, you snap off. Touch wood, I've never actually done it, but if a fish picks up that bait, it can pull the Hooklink off the rig. Whereas if you're using a heli safe, you haven't got that lead to get caught up to pull it off. So I'm a bit unsure about them at the moment, but I don't fish helis much anyway. I usually fish just the straight lead clips, things like that. So yeah, other stuff I've got in here, I've got a lot of different hook selections. So I've got a pot of hooks wherever it's gone in there. But in here, I've got everything like your size 10s, 6s, such a variety of different size hooks. So it's different sizes, different patterns. So like my little size 10s, as it says on the packet mixers, so if I'm fishing on the top, I've got your chod rigs pre-tied, because, God forbid, I can't do them. Well, I can, but it's just so fiddly, and again, some more with a bigger hook on. Even more. So we've got plenty of choddies there already tied up. We've got, oh, Jesus, probably too many different hooks. So we've got everything from size 6 in the mixers, size 10 in the mixers, twisters, big T's. Always been a huge fan of the big T's, the Raptors from ESP. I've used them for that many years and they've never let me down. But then we've got, wherever they are, I've got the Corda hooks, I've got the Fox. I'm not tied into a company, I use whatever I want, and I just like to have that variety. Even a small pack of Super Specimen, size 10s again for the floater fishing. I've got the kickers and things like that in there, and a couple of the spinner rig in the back of my PVA pouch. Made it all a mess now, I have to sort it all out again, but in the back of here I've got my leader materials and things like that. Tools, so I've got my crimping tool there. Keep an eye on that because like rocking horse doodah at the moment. Different types of lead core, so different styles. Really do like the Corda cable. The colours on that, big fan of them. I've always used very similar to this, but this is lead free. It's like a dark, goes really well into the silt. So it just blends in really well. What is it? I can't remember the name of it. Atom something or other anyway. But like I say, I've got a couple of spools of lead core there. I've got some more in my box. And then we have everything in here nice and messy. So I have my rig tubing. So if I want to use tubing and if water doesn't allow leaders for whatever reason, I can use that. Then I've got my safe zone leaders, a good selection of those. Heli set up already, just a normal heli, that one. And then I've got one set up with the heli safe on. But yeah, like I say, there's pretty much everything you think of on the Corda ones in here. A couple of lead core leaders made up, and then like I say, the tubing. Again, a few different colours there, brown, green, clear. So that should cover whichever bottom we're fishing onto. So we'll get these put away. Right, so there, that's the PVA pouch, bag, whatever you want to call it. That's what I've got in there. And there's not much else really in here, apart from scope. So if you're fishing any sloppy mixes, things like that, rather than getting your hands covered in it, don't mind that. So once you start spreading it onto your rods and reels and things like that, so try and keep them clean. So carry a small scope, a couple of floats. So I think most people will recognise these. I think it was TFG that brought them out to start with. Superb controller float on the surface, cast like a dream and a brilliant boat effect. So got a good few of them. These you might not recognise. Again, years ago, fishing on Selby Three Lakes, a guy on there put me onto these. They're MCF eggs. That's 1.5 ounces. You can get them up to like 3.5 ounces, I believe. So these things you can hit like 100 yards. They really are good. And again, the bolt effect fishing on the top. They're not super visible, but you can get out there. You can keep an eye on where your things are, and they really do work. So, like I say, cast like a bullet. You can fish them. Just a tail rubber throw, pull it onto there, come off dead easy if anything should happen. But really good. So I can't even say if they're still made, these things, but I've got a good few of them in my bags and things like that stashed away. So just a bit of PVA mesh, just a bit of that to top up the funnel web if needs be. And then if we go into the top of the bag, without spilling it everywhere, couple of compartments in this top bit. So we've got stickers. We've got our headlamps. So I've got two. Never know if you knack one up or me again misplace one. So I've got a couple of them. Got my Deeper Pro. So right, we'll go on to the subject of cheating. So I'll be taking my beta boat with me. You get a lot of people out there, but you can class anything, you know, using your bite alarms, that's cheating because you're not sat watching your rod. You could class the rods as cheating because you're not just catching the fish, whatever. I'm not going into the arguments. If you use a boat, use a boat. I'm using it as a quiet approach to get bait out, get it accurate. So a lot of people have fished these waters before and they've seen a lot of things. They've seen bait boats, don't get me wrong. So I'm going to try and get a good neat area of bait, but I'm going to have a little spread around the outside of it as well. So there's the concentration of bait in the middle and then a little bit around the side. So I'll fish one rod bang in the middle, then I'll fish one off to the side. So people think boats are cheating. That's your opinion. You're welcome to it. Can't get into that debate here. So the Deeper Pro, I'm going to attach it to the boat. So might anger even more people. But I'll attach it to the boat. I can survey the area, can have a look around, find the sweet spots, because there's Not a lot to go off on Emmotland whenever I've been there. You're fishing amongst your pads and things like that. But the other problem is you're getting a lot of people fishing on these waters, one off, one on kind of thing. So you don't know if the guy before you just put 5 kilo bait and it hasn't been touched. So in conjunction with this on the boat, I don't have it here with me. I think I've got it in charge in the bedroom. I've got a fish spy. So mark a float with the camera in, you can have a look at it and you can see exactly what you're fishing on. Again, you know, I'll usually turn up to water, have a lead about, find what I want to be fishing on. Then I'll put the fish spy out and I'll have a look, and you can have a look at the area. You might think you found a really nice big open patch, which I did on one of the club waters. Put the camera out there, looked, and it was a tiny little spot, but all the weed was round it. You wouldn't have had a bite in 100 years on there. It was just swamped with weed, but it felt okay. It was a strange situation. So what we'll do on Emmotland is I'll take it out on the boat with a deeper, mark it up, create a little map if you like. Once we've got that there, I'll have a look with the camera, check the spots, see if, like say if you've got that nice spot, but it's covered in manky old bait, you know the fish aren't feeding there, you know they're not going to be interested, so I might just put a PVA bag out over here or something like that, then tomorrow check it. So it's a really good way of just having a look about and seeing what's there. Everyone wants to know what's on the bottom, so I'm trying to justify having it, but I'll be using it. I think it's a massive advantage. Call it cheating or whatever you want, but if you're up a tree looking at your swim, it's the same sort of thing, but you can look everywhere. So yeah, bait boat, deeper, and the fish spy wherever I've got it. Lost it already, I even started. What else we got? So yeah, fish Delkims, fish the pluses for years, and I've got the TXI conversion on it and the receiver, so it's just handy to have in your bed. Don't have to have your alarms cranked right up to disturb everybody else. Nobody knows you're catching. But yeah, it's just handy to have that with you. Light sleeper anyway, thankfully, so I could probably just wake up off the clutch. Set scales, I've got digitals. I do have a set of Reuben Heatons as well, but again, they're in the garage with my bed chair and stuff like that. I will be taking both. The Reubens I've had for years. Piking, they've just been sat on the bank while I've been out there and things like that. Still deadly accurate, double checked them, everything like that. But it's always nifty to have, just me being overcautious again, always good to have a couple of sets. Back onto lighting on nights. So again, for years I've used the Ridge Monkeys. When I first came out, I had one straight away, clips up to the top of the bivvy, you can read your mags, books, whatever you want to do, rigging, really good. Clamp it onto your bank stick and use it on a night outside, whatever. But still use that, but then I've got the Fox bivvy light. It's not just a bivvy light, you can use it for reading and everything like that. Solar panel on the back, and then you can get that off. We've got our charging unit there, so you can charge your phone on it, things like that. So the top of the bivvies, brollies, whatever, and just clamp that, sit it on. You can clamp it on like that, so it sits above you. Got magnets built into it, so you can click it on, or it can just stand up. And the other thing is your bank stick attachment. So again, just screw it onto the bank stick. I've got my camera adapter and things like that, so it will just screw straight onto there. So really good bit of kit. With me unhooking mat and things like that, I have the Fish Care. Now I've had it for a while, so just got the new set there from Corda, so I've got that ready to go as and when I need it. So it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's what you're fishing for. You want to look after them. You want them to go back in tip-top condition for the next person to catch. Let them grow on and be fit and healthy. Yeah, so this goes with the Fish Spy. So it just clips onto your phone and it just provides you with a bit of light if you need to. So it's not a great deal, but you might be able to just see there. Probably not, because it is quite bright, but it's just another way of lighting up, and it came with the package, so it just clips onto your phone and you can just switch that on. So I've got it in there. I've never used it yet, but we'll see. I do carry a laser. Obviously, anybody using these, you have to use them responsibly. Don't be daft pointing them in the sky. Use them to scare off the tufties and things like that. Very rarely I have used that, but those nights when they're just, it's handy to have. So that's pretty much it. In the side pockets I've got my PVA foam And then the other side, I think I've just got a marker floating here. Yeah, a couple of pegs, things like that. Yeah, just a strap for me retaining sling. Not something I tend to do. I don't like retaining fish. I don't mind photos of fish in the dark. It's about catching them and enjoying it for me. So I'll just catch them, get them straight back. But yeah, that's pretty much the basic kit that I'll be taking with me. Like I say, I'm going to have the boat and all the rest of it. Right, you join me on the bank now. We're on peg 3A on pond 2 on Emmotland. Got the rods out, had a little suss about with the deeper spot over the far side. It's just under a tree, there's a nice drop off there. And the other 2 rods, I wasn't sure about them because there's the obvious spots with the lily pads where I think a lot of people are dropping baits, and there's a bit of weed sat there as well. So I thought, go different, bottom of the slope in about 8 foot of water. I've dropped a bit of bait in there, not a huge amount, maybe a kilo. I was going to go heavy to start with, but I've put maybe about a kilo of chopped boilies pellets, which are oiled up, and I'll go through that in a second. But we've had a bit of interest on there, and I keep seeing it fizzing up and kicking up off that spot. So if we don't get any interest anytime soon, I'll bring that rod in, check the rig, maybe just switch the bait, tweak the rig a little bit if we're not going to get a fish on it. It may be worth putting 2 rods over there and just keep baiting a spot, but we'll see. So a bit disorganised chaos at the moment, but I'm just sorting my next mix out. So right, so as I was saying, I just quickly knocked a mix up and got it out there quickly. Didn't get time to soak the boilies in the oils and things like that. The wife wasn't too happy about the smell of the boilies in the house, so I couldn't do it at home. But we're here now. I've made up 1 batch. We're getting interest again there now. Is it or isn't it? Doesn't look like it's gonna go. As I was saying, so yeah, we're getting a lot of interest on that rod. Something's not quite right. Maybe they're feeding over the top of the line and knocking it. I am using the bait boat to get the bait out there, and I've dropped the rig, the bait's gone down, the drig. So when I've opened the hopper door on the bait boat, it should have, I've had the tight line on the rod, so the rod's arced down, it's 8 foot of water, and the bait's dropped straight down, so I'll be fishing on the edge of it, so hopefully the fish aren't feeding on top of my rig, on top of the bait's just off the side, how I like it. But we'll have a quick look now at what I've got in the bucket left from what I've put out there. This is Baitworks Royal Marine bait, this one, so really funny smell. It's definitely got the scent from hell in there, and yeah, it's maybe been out an hour or 2 if that, and we're getting plenty of interest, plenty of fish coming up, so they're on it. Just a matter of hooking them now. I'm going to try a rig fishing 2 boilies like that. It has worked well for me in the past, back to back. Little dumbbell sort of set up, just to try and confuse them a bit. They've been fished for a hell of a lot in here, so we'll just try and see if we can whittle one out. So all I'm doing at the moment is I'm just using the small corder cutter. Just drop your boilies in there, slices it in half, using the crusher. As I say, use my hands. If you just crush a boilie up, you get different sized little lumps and bits and pieces. It's just going to try and confuse them a bit with what we're putting out there. Different, like I say, bit of everything for them on that. So I'm dropping that in, and then I am adding the liquid fish, giving that a good glug over the top of there. Plenty of oil, scent and flavour in there. We've got the Royal Marine dip and soak, so I might pour a bit of that on there, but I'm going to be soaking a few boilies in there, getting them done. I've got some Atlantic Heat ones. As you can see, they're well and truly glugged. They've been in there for a while, just keep adding a bit more. I've got the cork ball pop-ups on the heat. So that's on the other rod. I've got that there with the pellet. And I've just got that fishing again, bottom of the slope, 8-foot margin, just drops down nicely under these trees. Nice clear spot in the weed. I've hardly put any bait on that, just a light scattering to see what happens. So we'll continue as we are. I might, like I say, I'll have to recast that rod I think, because we've had quite a few bleeps and bits of interest on it, but no proper hookup. So yeah, I'll get back to you soon. Just a quick one. Been sat quite a while since that last bite, nothing at all's come on, and then a couple of seconds ago, just out this area, which is in Peg 3's water, not far out. Most people go out to the pads out here in the middle. Just out in this area here, there's a fish just bosh right out. So yeah, I'm sat here troughing me cheesecake from the cheesecake pot, and really left the bed. We've just had a bit of rain, wind's pushing through a bit, so I haven't been able to watch me the area where I've been getting the interest. So probably won't make it out here, but there's just a couple of pads here. From here it drops down into 8 foot of water, the channel runs right across. Once you hit this bank it picks back up again to shallow and weedy, but bottom of the bank there's quite a few spots where it's clear. So I'm probably going to have a rethink, a rebait, see how the rig looks when I bring it in, see if I've been done. But for now, back to the cheesecake. Right, we're on our last day here on Emmotland. Well and truly broke me this trip. I don't know what else I could have done. I fished really well, checked my spots every day, kept the bait topped up, things like that, but it just hasn't happened. Seen a lot of fish where the pads are in the middle out here. They're all just sitting in them, looking at them. There's a few fish up in pegs 2 and 3 between the two of them. There's been a lot of fish show there, but there's been nothing at all down here. Not seen a fish in days down here. I don't know why. Don't know if I'm cut off by the lines too much by everybody else fishing, or I don't know what it is. But normally we've got the bay around the corner here, and they do like to get in there when the sun's like this, but there's trees falling across the bay blocking it and things like that, so I think it's just my theory, but I think that's stopping them from going in. It just absolutely screams fish underneath here. Under the canopies here, just screams fish. I'd be boat, obviously my bait boat, taking it out under there, so no risky casting. Not being stupid, dropping it right on the snags and things like that, no point in that. I've moved my left hand rod now into these pads here. Always used to be a decent spot when you're fishing peg 4, casting across like a rod length off or underneath this cut down tree. So I've just dropped a single pop up in them pads there, see what happens. My other rods, so this one that's in the 8 foot of water on the silty bottom, put my camera out there yesterday, pulled it through. A lot of bait's still on the bottom, but it looked like a lot of it had been cleaned up, so I haven't really put any more out. Dropped the baits in last night and that. We'll have a cast with the camera again this afternoon when we're away from bite time. Bite time. But we'll have a look, see what bait's left on the bottom, see if it looks it's been touched at all. And then my right hand rod's still down this tree line here, just fishing amongst some weed and that. But like I say, nothing at all last night or the last day or two. I think the last bite I had was when I had the camera rolling. The bobbin pulled up tight and then nothing. I think there's a fish trail in a lead. So last night this line pulled up tight, my right hand rod pulled up tight, and then just dropped back down, and then my left hand rod did the same. So I think there's a fish trailing out there somewhere, which is not good news. It shouldn't be happening. So yeah, we've got under 24 hours left now, not long at all really. Bring the rods in and check them. There's been nothing at all caught at all on the lake. Speaking to other people, it's been like that for quite a while. I don't know why. Maybe I always can winkle a fish out of it somehow, somewhere. Like I say, normally you can stalk them up in the bay, but just not having it.
I guess it is what it is. We've tried our damnedest and they're not having it. But so there's a couple of reasons why they might not be feeding. The main one, just after COVID, the amount of pressure. So I was watching kingfishers, 2 of them going on together hunting. The amount of pressure we've had through COVID, the lake's been full the whole time we've been here. And I guess when we pull off there'll be people coming in, so it's just constant, the bait going in and stuff. They've got just free choice of what they want. The other thing is they've got the blue dye and they've killed a lot of the pads off in here, so that could be taking a big effect on them. But normally when you go on a walk with the blue dye and stuff, it doesn't affect them that much. But again, like I said, they aren't pushing up here. I don't know why. So yeah, broken man. But I've enjoyed it. It's been nice to be out. Still, like I say, there's still time left yet, but hopes are dwindling. Right, we had obviously absolutely zero interest in the swim I was in last time. I had to move, found some fish on a different pond, and then got told that peg was actually taken, even though I got told it wasn't in the first place, so I've had to move again. So yeah, it's evening time now, I've got the rods out. Yeah, before I moved, this area of the lake was fairly quiet. There's a couple of the people come on now, and where I'm fishing to in the centre here, there's always fish in these pads, so I'll show you the swim. So that's our swim now, with the pads out in the middle there. When I rocked on, John next door, he had a rod on there, so I've popped 2 rods onto it. But then the guy opposite's put 2 rods on, John's got 2 rods on, and the other guy's got 1 rod on, so I've got 7 rods all fishing that one area. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but it is what it is. I've got much more confidence sat here than I did in the corner, which is down that way. We've got a rod just tucked in down here off these pads. The fish tend to swing round here on a morning when the sun's on the water and what have you. But a lot more confident than where I was. I hadn't seen a fish down there for the last day or 2. Luckily this peg was free, not like any of the others. Had a little mess around with the spinning rod on the lad next door and managed to catch 2 small jack pike, so not a complete blank, but not what I'm after. So hopefully we'll be able to report something back tomorrow. Basically just put the boat straight into the pads, fished on the top of the shelf there. Steep shelves on the side of there. Clip the back lead on, try and keep the leads down, the line down. Just see what happens. Right, here we are, last few hours of the morning. So we had the swim move yesterday, well we had the lake move and then the swim move because somebody else was booked on there, a bit of a mix up, but just dropped in next to my 2 mates, bit of a social last night. We're fishing with the pads, we've seen fish anyway, but got a couple of single bleeps this morning about 6:30, and about 10 minutes later the rod just melted off, resulted in a 17-pound ghostie. So first fish out of this lake in a couple of weeks now, so it's good result. Really pleased with that. Caught it on the baitworks sent from Boilie's. Anybody that's got any of these and used them, you know how badly this absolutely stinks, so a very apt name. But just one of them fish with the Royal Marine. So yeah, we've got an hour and a half and I have to be off, so bit of breakfast, get packed down, and fingers crossed we'll get somewhere else.